back your homes, or restore your dead to life.
But perhaps I can give you justice in the name of our king.
Hey everyone, recently I have received many requests to do a video on the Hooded Man of Winterfell, and so if you have not read the books, this is going to be your spoiler warning, because the theory is based on a brief segment in the novels. Okay, ever since the first novel from A Song of Ice and Fire came out, there has been little bits and pieces of mysteries intertwined in the main story arc. Much of the scenes we see in the show have 10 times more background information in the books that alert the reader to reasoning and logic that they may not fully have from just watching the show. Actually, while I'm talking about it, many viewers of the channel have not read the books. I completely understand if you do not want to or you feel like it would be a daunting task, but having been both a reader and a watcher of the show, going back through the novels, I have learned so much more about different scenes in the show that it has actually changed my whole experience of Game of Thrones. Just something to think about if you're looking for new content to occupy your time during the break between seasons. Anyway, the Hooded Man of Winterfell is a fan-named character that briefly appears to Theon Greyjoy during the Bolton reign at Winterfell. Now to set the plot, the Boltons took over control of Winterfell much like they did in the show, but there are obviously some significant differences regarding that period in the books from what HBO delivered on screen. I won't get into that so I don't spoil other plot lines for people that want to pick up the books. So going forward, Roose Bolton was the new Warden of the North, and he was bringing in new bannermen to Winterfell's gates to hold down the northern castles from Stannis Baratheon. Around this time, tensions were high. Roose Bolton didn't know exactly who to trust, and much of this anxiety came from multiple suspicious deaths of people in Winterfell during this period of war preparations. Now, after the spree of deaths, Theon, who had been undergoing a massive bit of torture from Ramsay and now thinking of himself as Reek, wanders through the grounds of Winterfell in the middle of the night. Theon has a knack for wandering around aimlessly and also forgetting what he is doing. One night he is caught off guard by a hooded man with a knife that comes up to him and engages in a brief dialogue. Theon Turncloak, Theon Kinslayer. I'm not, I never, I was Ironborn. False is all you were. How is it you still breathe? The gods are not done with me. At this point, Theon started wondering if this man was responsible for all the mysterious deaths going around in Winterfell. The text mentions that Theon was surprisingly not afraid and removes his glove to reveal a maimed hand courtesy of Ramsay. The hooded man laughed and says, I leave you to him then. This is the first and last bit of info we have on the mystery man engaging in conversation with Theon. However, this is one of the more popular suspicious events in the whole book series. Now, with many subreddits and YouTube videos and other forms of discussion, the theories of who this man is varies widely, but I have found myself intrigued by one identity that many of you who have read the books probably agree with. I subscribe to the idea that Theon Greyjoy is the Hooded Man of Winterfell, and here's why. Theon was horrendously tortured by Ramsay, and we got to see much of it on the show. Ramsay mentally and physically stripped Theon of his identity and peeled back the layers of his emotional stability until there is virtually nothing left but a weak thing of a person called Reek. Just think back to when Yara comes to save her brother, and she doesn't even recognize the personality of her brother anymore. He has, in all regards, transformed into someone else. The Hooded Man has to be someone who knows Theon, since they approach him and knows exactly who he is, when others who Theon most definitely knows can't recognize him. Also, this person must know of the event with Bran and Rickon being killed by Theon, which, as you know, was just a front and wasn't actually them at all. That's the reference to kinslaying. And lastly, the Hooded Man must know of Theon's betrayal to Robb Stark. And when you look at the Turncloak part of the theory, other individuals would probably fit the bill better than Theon being the Hooded Man himself, but of course that's only just one section of the theory. If we attack the Hooded Man's identity from the side that Theon has a split personality, we can see that Theon encountering a man unknown to him is not all that impossible. In fact, many people who have split personalities or dual personalities are completely unaware of the multiple personas they hold claim to. Continuing with this belief that Reek unknowingly transforms into the hooded man can also be supported by the attire of the man, a hooded cloak, which is the same garb we see Theon in early in the story. Now this is by no means damning evidence. I mean, a cloak, of course, that doesn't hammer a nail in the coffin. But of the multiple suspicious deaths occurring in Winterfell, one of them is the character Little Walder, a Frey that is a squire to Ramsay, who is murdered with no one claiming who did it or why he died. This is a person that Theon hates, and it would make sense if he took care of him while under the personality of the hooded man. In conclusion, I like to think that Theon has built a subconscious barrier in his head that allowed for some form of multiple personality syndrome or something similar to it. Of course, this isn't real life, as it is very heavy in fantasy, but most of the subtle things that certain characters go through have a very relatable undertone to the fans. This is obviously because it was written by George R.R. Martin, who has real emotions and puts real history and logic into his books. Who's to say that Theon didn't develop a split personality in self-defense to the severe torturing from Ramsay? Just an add-on from my own personal experience, I used to serve in the military, and during stressful times, myself as well as my peers developed an unusual way of coping with bad environments and events. Most of us got some form of satisfaction by laughing things off or even acting as if we weren't really experiencing these scenarios. We mentally transformed ourselves into something better and something easier to control, as if we weren't being affected by whatever it was. In fact, everyday people do this on a regular basis, whether it's a video game that you play to escape from reality for a while, or a hobby that takes your mind and focus off of negativity, even if just for a bit. Time and time again, people who experience some forms of trauma change mentally as a coping mechanism. And this could be exactly what Theon is experiencing. Let me know what you think about this theory, and who you believe the Hooded Man of Winterfell truly is. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed any part of the video, please leave a like. Also, if any of you haven't read the book series but really want to, or you're just interested in learning more of the lore behind the little bits of info shown on Game of Thrones, I will leave a link in the description to buy the whole Ice and Fire set. Just a disclaimer, the link is an affiliate link for The Last Harpy, so if you decide to buy the books, I get a little kickback of the money for referring you to the purchase. It doesn't change the price or anything for you, and in fact, I believe you can get the set for around $30. Anyway, have a great day, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.